Welcome into Fantasy Baseball today on Tuesday, July 22nd. I am Frank Stampfl, joined by Scott White and Chris Towers. Chris, you're here.
Yeah.
Welcome back.
I wasn't supposed to be here this week, but plans changed, so I'll be here the next couple of nights. Yeah.
Let's go.
Which is good. I felt weird. I was going to be off for like 13 straight days off the podcast, and that felt weird. So I'm glad I don't have to deal with that weirdness, you know?
Are you counting the weekend when you say 13 straight days?
Yeah, it was going to be like 13 straight calendar days. It was like 6 episodes of the podcast or something.
You're going to make me podcast with just Frank for 3 straight weeks? Is that what you're saying?
Whoa, what's wrong with that? Jeez, all right.
Well, I was going to say alone, but then I caught myself and said with Frank. Because obviously
and then you caught yourself
too.
And made it.
And now you're making it sound like I was. I was trying to treat you like a person, but you are making me feel like I did just the opposite.
Because you caught yourself and said just Frank. I would never say just Frank.
Just Frank as opposed to Frank and also Chris.
Frank, you are enough.
You're putting the emphasis on the wrong word.
Thanks, guys. Scott, we'll have a solo Kokomo Friday. You can do it by yourself this week. How about that?
You can't win. Language is hard.
Anyway, today on the show, is Brandon Woodruff just a must-start pitcher again? Waiver wire this or that? Some fun with arbitrary endpoints and much more. Let's get into the players of the night.
Oh! He killed it! It is out of here! It's gone!
That was a great call last week. Red Sox TV on Cedar Rafaela's walk-off. A couple of people sent that in, and so I'm happy to work that in. That's a pretty awesome call. If anyone hears great calls anywhere, if you listen to the show, tweet them at me, email them in, and we'll try to work that into the player of the night call here up top. But let's begin. Let's start with some good, because Scott has some bad he wants to talk about. Chris, player of the night.
Royce Lewis may not be done just yet. All right, he's had 2 good games in a row.
I was going to say, it only took 2 games.
I don't want to, but look, the thing is, with Royce Lewis, everything is small sample sizes, right? It's small sample sizes on small sample sizes all the way down. So, yeah, he's been pretty bad for the last calendar year. I think it was a 621 OPS was what I saw. That's really bad for a calendar year. It's also only like 400 plate appearances because it's small sample sizes all the way down for Royce Lewis, and now he's had 2 good games in a row, 2 homers on Sunday, 3 for 4 with a double on Monday against the Dodgers. And the thing for me with Royce Lewis is I get being skeptical that he's as good as he's looked at his best, right? So that makes perfect sense, given the small sample sizes and everything. Totally be skeptical of that. But he's down to like 65% rostered or something. And when we're talking about should I add Royce Lewis rather than should I draft Royce Lewis with a top 100 pick, I think it's a lot easier to just take the good 2-game sample size and say, yeah, add Royce Lewis, especially because his quality of contact data actually looks really good over the course of the full season. His expected WOBA for the full season is now 348. That's exactly what it was in 2023. Partially it's because his quality of contact data is not quite as good overall as it was in 2023, but he has cut his strikeout rate down to 14.4%. His expected WOBA over his past 100 plate appearances is 385. That was before Monday's three-hit game. So in any of the leagues where Royce Lewis is available, I think you should just go ahead and add him in pretty much every single one, just because we've seen, even if it's just we've seen what it looks like when he gets hot, there aren't a lot of players that have shown that kind of upside when they get hot like Royce Lewis has.
Especially on the waiver wire, right? You're just not going to find players of that talent level available. And we lost a couple more third basemen this past weekend. We spoke about it yesterday. Isak Paredes and Alec Boehm went on the IL. Obviously, Addison Barger, the top replacement. He's already up over 81%, up to 81%, excuse me. Noelvi Marte, 74%. I think those 2 are very clearly ahead of Royce Lewis. But after that, if we're just talking about taking a shot on upside, then
look,
I think Royce Lewis is right there.
If Royce Lewis is better than those 2 guys, the rest of the way, I wouldn't be even a little bit surprised. And I don't, and look, that's just kind of saying that things happen and there's a wide range of outcomes with all these players. But like, I would be surprised if Mark Vientos was really good the rest of the way. I would be surprised at least a little bit if like Jorge Polanco was a must-start player in all fantasy formats the rest of the way. I wouldn't be surprised if Royce Lewis was. And this is one thing that I want to highlight is 3 months is a big-ish sample size. It's also not that big of a sample size. And I did some research earlier. There were 102 players last season who qualified for the batting title in both the first half and the second half of the season. Of those 102 players, 16 saw their WOBA increase by at least 50 points from the first half to the second half, and 18 saw their WOBA decrease by at least 50 points. So that means fully a third of the league last season had a 50-point WOBA swing from the first half to the second half. That's not like everyone, but that's a lot of players. That's a really significant portion of the player base that had a wildly different first and second half. And it's just a reminder, and I think it's worth keeping in mind with like Willy Adames, who's really turned it around lately, and a couple other guys like that, where even having 3 bad months in a row does not mean your next 3 months are going to be terrible. Sometimes guys just have a bad 3 months, and it's hard to think about that in the moment, but you do need to remind yourself that even a full sample size, a full season doesn't change a player's talent level, let alone 3 months. So when you have players like Willy Adames or Royce Lewis who have had very, very good production in the past, any signs of life, you should be willing to buy into them, I think.
Talking about these small samples, you just brought me back to the COVID-shortened season, and I don't want to be back there.
I just wanted to remind people, because you said a 50-point swing in WOBA, either gaining or losing, for 1/3 of that group that qualified for the batting title, first half and second half. WOBA's structured like on-base percentage, so that's how much 50 points is worth. Like, imagine a player gaining or losing 50 points of OBP. That's significant.
Yeah, this season it's the difference between Kyle Schwarber and Alec Burleson. Is 50 points of WOBA. That's a really, really big that's a really big range.
Yeah, for sure. All right, my player of the night is before we get to you, Scott, because we'll save the worst for last this time. But Brandon Woodruff from the Brew Crew. I see you rocking the shirt, Scott. The best record in baseball, Milwaukee Brewers right now. Brandon Woodruff turned in another strong start, this time at the Mariners. 6 shutout innings, 2 hits, 0 walks, 5 strikeouts, 9 whiffs, only 62 pitches. I didn't see any reason why they took him out outside of just, hey, this is his 3rd start back. He hasn't pitched in 2 years. He's coming back from a shoulder surgery type thing. 62 pitches. Don't love that in a vacuum, but the fact that he just continues to pitch incredibly well. I mean, we're 3 starts in with Woodruff, a 1.65 ERA, a .55 whip. He has 23 strikeouts to 0 walks over 16 1/3 innings, and he's doing that with 2 to 3 miles per hour less on his fastball and sinker than the last time we saw him. Doesn't really seem like it matters. So my question to you guys is Brandon Woodruff just a must-start pitcher once again?
I wouldn't go as far as must start, personally.
Are you going to sit him next week, though?
I don't know who he's facing. Tell me who he's facing.
Would it matter?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this was his first start of even 5 innings?
No, like his first start was 6 innings. His second was 4 2/3, and then this
okay. Yeah, I thought it was more gradual.
Looks like he gets the
He's probably
Nationals
2-star pitcher later this week, right?
Yeah, he gets the Marlins later this week.
He lined up for 2 starts this week.
The Nationals next week.
Which, if he gets bumped to 2 starts next week, that makes it an easy call. That happens pretty often. It's been great. And I'm not worried about him throwing 62 pitches since you brought that up. I think they just took him out because he pitched 6 innings, and it didn't really matter how many pitches it took.
Had a fresh bullpen.
I'm actually just seeing right now that Brandon Woodruff's start was cut short by a calf cramp. Not a strain, but a
so it
cramp.
was something.
Yeah.
All right. I don't know. I've said a lot of wrong things. I'm just going to let Chris talk.
So I think it probably can't last. Now, there are different levels to that. He has a 161 ERA right now, I think, 165 ERA. It should go without saying that Brandon Woodruff is not Bob Gibson pitching in the middle of the, year of the pitcher, right? Like that goes without saying. So it's more of a question of, is he a 265 ERA guy? I think almost certainly not. Is he a 325 ERA guy? I'd probably take the over. 365 rest of the way? I could see, that feels okay for Brandon Woodruff with about a strikeout per inning. And yeah, I think he'll be good moving forward. I don't think he's going to pitch nearly as well as he has so far. I don't think he's going to pitch as well as he did prior to all the injuries. It's a phenomenal story. I'm having a ton of fun watching him. But even in this start, he had 5 batted balls allowed with an expected batting average of 500 or better. 2 of them were singles. 1 of them was a 100-mile-per-hour flyout. And 2 were like 100-mile-per-hour line drives that happened to find gloves. There's probably a little bit of good luck involved here. And that's fine. That's not a knock on him. I think he'll be good moving forward. It's just, do I think he's an ace? No, I don't.
I mean, I guess it depends what your cutoff is for a must-start pitcher. I think he's going to just continue to climb up the rankings at least a little bit further. I had him at SP 53 last week. I think he's, inside of the top 50, probably somewhere in that, 40 to 45 range. I have a bunch of just frustrating pitchers around there who we'll talk about later.
I would say a top 50 pitcher is a fringe starter, though, not a must start.
Yeah. The guys like Tanner Bybee and Jack Flaherty I have in that range. We'll talk about those guys a little bit later on. And this goes without saying. I don't want anyone to think, oh, man, they're hating on Brandon Woodruff again. But if anybody is valuing Brandon Woodruff like the Brandon Woodruff of old, maybe just poke around and see.
Yeah, he's not it should go without saying that he's not a top 15 starting pitcher.
But some people might see the name
but I know that there's a lot of reactionary people out there who just bounce back and forth between whatever the most recent thing that has happened. And so, you might have an opportunity to really sell Brandon Woodruff at a huge premium, and you should look into it.
Also, I mean, you just got done saying 300. What was it you said? 300 plate appearances isn't that big of a sample. Or 3 months isn't that big of a sample.
Yeah, whatever number. Yeah,
this is 3 starts.
Yeah,
and I think back to that stretch. Lance McCullers looked like, oh gosh, this guy, even though he lost so much velocity, he looks like he's gonna be just fine, and didn't stay that way. Yeah. So, I can't predict the future. I mean,
whoa, hold on.
I can't predict the future. Like, I want to stress this because a lot of people don't seem to think. They at least seem to. They either think I can predict the future, or I think I can predict the future. No, or I think I can predict the future. I can't even talk, but they seem to think that. I know I can't. Like, I'm just guessing up here based on available information. And the available information I have is that Brandon Woodruff has looked really good for 3 starts. Brandon Woodruff's velocity is down about 3 miles per hour. Brandon Woodruff is mixing in this cutter he didn't really throw before. And so what am I supposed to make of that? I make of it, I at least have to be open to the idea that this cutter is going to make it possible for him to exceed with 3 miles per hour less of velocity, but I need a lot more information to be assured of that. I need a lot more of a sample than 3 starts to be assured of that. So I'm not certain. I am open, but I'm not certain.
And it is worth adding. Let's just turn it into 10 minutes of hate on Brandon Woodruff, I guess.
I'm
joking. Marlins, Nationals at Seattle. is just about the softest landing you can have. You've still got to go out there and get those guys out. The Marlins have scored plenty of runs lately. It's not like they're the worst lineup in baseball, but it's been a nice, smooth landing for Brandon Woodruff as well.
All right. Well, we might be going for our longest podcast in the history of the show tonight, but Scott, you're player of the night for the wrong reasons, and you know, let's keep it moving.
No, this is because this is a really simple one. So
I think we all know how we feel about him.
Let's talk about Shane Baz, who had been great for a 4-start stretch, 2.30 ERA, 102 WHIP, 9.9 K per 9, and it had coincided with him emphasizing a cutter in this year of the cutter, and it seemed to make his fastball more effective. He seemed like maybe he had turned a corner here. Not so good here against the White Sox. I think that's the toughest pill to swallow, is that it was against the White Sox. He allowed 8 earned runs in 4 innings. So I could, if I'm doing micro analysis here on Shane Baz, I will tell you he did throw that new cutter 22% of the time. It had only a 78 mile per hour exit velocity against. So it really soft contact on that cutter. It seemed like it was effective, pretty effective on its own. So I think what happened, again, this is the micro analysis. I think what happened is that his curveball had 4 fewer inches of vertical break. It just wasn't breaking like it should. And that's his top swing and miss pitch. And so he didn't have a good outing. And, you know, maybe the curveball has its usual shape next time and Shane Baz is totally fine and the cutter's still the game changer. That is the hopeful view. But if I'm looking at it, if I'm given macro analysis here on Shane Baz, I'm kind of getting the feeling he's the next Sonny Gray, and he's just going to be so frustrating analytically for years and years to come. I mean, hopefully he lasts for years and years, because Sonny Gray's longevity is not something often repeated by pitchers, but that is the sense I'm getting, because he has had so many like great starts this year. And of course, former top prospect, has the pedigree. But then he just mixes in these duds that has his ERA now 4.66, I think you said, Chris. So not a good ERA, even though we all have a lot of good memories of Shane Baz this year. So yeah, it's frustrating. We'll see what happens next start with the curveball. I think that'll tell us a lot more, the results relative to how the curveball is working. But right now, it's just frustrating.
Is Shane Baz still a must roster player? He's 96% rostered on CBS.
I'd stick with them.
Yeah. He's shown enough upside that I'm probably not going to chase. I don't know. If like Brandon Walter's out there, I would hope I have someone worse than Shane Baz, or at least someone less interesting than Shane Baz. But like, who do you feel more confident starting next time around?
Well, before this start,
the same matchup.
Before this start, I might have said Shane Baz.
Yeah,
well, for sure. I had Shane Baz as a must-start 2-star pitcher this week.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, I guess that gets into the frustrating nature, his kind of up and down inconsistency so far this season. So, look, with a lot of these pitchers, it's hard to figure out, all right, when do I start? When do I sit? You probably just throw them in there and go along for the ride. But, yeah, very frustrating outing here for Shane Baz. Before we hit our first break, a reminder to sign up for the FBT newsletter if you haven't already. If you're watching on YouTube, scan the QR code. That will take you right to the website where you can sign up for free. Get that newsletter delivered right to your inbox every weekday of the season. And big thanks to those watching live on YouTube. Make sure to hit the like button and subscribe on YouTube as well. Let's take a break, and we'll be back right after this.
What's he like? The happy-faced killer?
You mean my dad? Be glad you never have to know.
You think that you're so much better than me. You're just like your old man.
I am not like you at all.
Welcome back in Fantasy Baseball today. Let's take a look at the news and notes. And this just happened in one of those late West Coast games. But Tanner Scott left his appearance early with a trainer and appeared to be flexing his left hand. I haven't seen anything definitive. Probably going to take some time for them to get, testing and everything done there. But obviously, pretty worrisome injury here for Tanner Scott. Kirby Yates did come in, get the final 2 outs of the game for the save, although nearly gave up a game-tying home run in the process there to Carlos Correa. Who do you guys think would be next up if this is a potentially long-term injury for Tanner Scott?
My guess is that Alex Vesia and Kirby Yates would split saves chances. So Yates has been more often working the 7th, and Vesia's kind of all over the place, but more often the 8th than Yates. So if you wanted to do that thing, maybe Vesia has the edge. But Dave Roberts is one of the least committed to bullpen roles. So I think it's going to be a lot of mixing and matching.
I don't think it's going to be one guy. Yeah.
Yeah. Also worth mentioning that Blake Trinan is close to returning as well. He's been rehabbing, has been out for most of the season, but early on he was getting some saves there in tandem with Tanner Scott. So just another name that could maybe work his way into the mix. And, kind of jumping to conclusions, maybe Tanner Scott will be perfectly fine and remain the team's closer. But if he has to miss time, those are the likely 3 that would be next up for the Dodgers. Yordan Alvarez was cleared to begin hitting off a slow toss Monday. He's scheduled to take more swings here on Tuesday. We'll see how his hand and wrist bounce back. Freddie Freeman was back in the lineup after leaving Sunday with that hit by pitch to his left wrist. Pete Crow Armstrong was out of the lineup Monday due to a bruised right knee. The Rangers are targeting Wednesday for Nathan Eovaldi's next start. He was scratched Sunday with back tightness. Brandon Lau has missed 2 straight with plantar fasciitis in his foot. Bailey Ober struck out 3 over 4 scoreless in his first rehab start at AAA. He got his pitch count up to 50, and Bailey Ober 71% rostered. Scott, I threw a bunch of names at you, rehabbing names yesterday. It included Shane Bieber, Spencer Arrighetti, Luis Heel, and Kyle Bradish. Where would Bailey Ober rank on that list?
Well, it just so happens I was working on IL stash rankings before the pod, and we'll continue working on them after the pod. So I can tell you exactly. I have Bailey Ober behind Bieber and Arrighetti, ahead of Heel by 1 spot, and also Bradish.
Mm-hmm. Where is, since you have those ready and handy, where does Bryce Miller rank on that list?
Between Heel and Bradish, mostly because Bradish is still a ways away. I mean, he's starting a rehab assignment. What will be a long rehab assignment coming back from Tommy John surgery.
Yeah, I think we don't see him until mid-August, but he might be the best pitcher of that group.
I'd still say Bieber, but I mean,
Bradish looked just
going into
as
last
good.
year.
Yeah.
Going into last year, he was like a top 20, top.
Well, the little bit of we saw of him last year was the best we'd ever seen of Kyle Bradish too. Remember, he had like a 34% strikeout rate in like 6 starts last year.
Now
he looked like an ace.
It might sound like, okay, why do you have Luis Heel behind Bailey Ober, as bad as Bailey Ober's been, but you have him ahead of Bryce Miller? Well, I think. I don't think the injury that has hindered Bryce Miller this year is getting better.
Yeah.
I think Ober's potentially could get better.
Shane McClanahan is not a lock to make his next rehab appearance. He threw 10 pitches in a bullpen on Monday, and they'll see how he feels on Tuesday. So, his last outing wasn't so good. Apparently gave up a couple of hard hits. I think a couple home runs in that outing. So they're kind of taking it day by day to see how Shane McClanahan feels moving forward. Grayson Rodriguez is undergoing imaging on his right elbow after feeling discomfort recently. Bryce Miller, who we just mentioned, will throw another live BP on Friday before beginning a rehab assignment. Dylan Cruz was able to complete a full assortment of baseball activities this weekend and is inching towards a rehab assignment. Anthony Santander is not expected to resume swinging a bat for at least a couple more weeks. He's been out since late May with a left shoulder injury. And, I mean, to the Blue Jays' credit, right? That's their big offseason acquisition. Yeah. Yet they're still in first place in the AL East. So playing great ball right now are the Toronto Blue Jays. The Mets recalled Francisco Alvarez on Monday. And since going down to AAA, He played 19 games down there. He hit .299 with 11 home runs and a .1233 OPS.
Whoa.
He returned
11 home runs in 19 games.
I saw that in the notes. I had to go check it out. Not to say I don't trust Frank. That's just like,
come on.
That's a bonkers number. I had to make sure.
He was destroying the ball.
It's true.
He went one. Thank you for confirming. 1 for 2 with 2 walks and 2 runs here on Monday for Alvarez. 27% rostered. Definitely worth a look in 2 catcher leagues. Would you guys rather add Alvarez or Adrian Del Castillo, who was called up by the D-backs this past weekend?
There's a part of me that just wants to say Del Castillo just as a mystery box.
Yeah.
I don't think that's fair.
Isn't Alvarez kind of a mystery box too?
Well, he's still so young.
Yeah, Francisco Alvarez is 2 full years younger than Adrian Del Castillo.
Yeah.
So, I acknowledge it's not fair.
Yeah.
It's just part of me going, ugh, this again with Francisco Alvarez, which is not good analysis. I will readily admit.
Well, part of me is going, oh, this again with catchers, because this is a moot point in one catcher leagues. These guys are way too far down.
Sean Murphy and Drake Baldwin.
Which, a player with Francisco Alvarez's pedigree who just hit 11 homers in 19 games. Any other year, a catcher does that, and it's a fight to get him, but there's just not the same need at the position. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Did we have an answer there on Alvarez versus Del Castillo?
I said Alvarez.
Okay. I think it has to be Alvarez, yeah.
Yeah, I would go with Alvarez as well. But, it's not really to disparage Del Castillo. Very interested in his upside and what he can do as well. Josh Young was recalled by the Rangers. He was not exactly tearing it up the way Alvarez was at AAA. He went 2 for 3 with a walk and hit a home run here in his return. 35% rostered. I think just a name to watch for now. Josh Young, let's see if he can get hot once again.
I will note he did homer in 2 of his final 3 games before being recalled. Could have just been they sent him down to work on stuff. They saw enough. But yeah, it's like a 700 OPS or sub 700 OPS. So I think we got to see a little more.
Rangers reliever Chris Martin was placed on the IL with a left calf strain and is expected to miss 4 to 6 weeks. Denzel Clark was placed on the IL with a grade 2 right adductor strain. Shelby Miller scheduled to face live hitters on Tuesday. He's currently on the IL with a forearm injury. And the Cardinals plan to ask Nolan Arenado about his preference if a trade possibility surfaces here for the Cardinals. Let's get into...
Can I make one comment on Shelby Miller real quick?
Yes.
Because it seemed like this was one of those cases where he gets hurt and everybody's like, okay, here they go again. The Diamondbacks are losing a 3rd closer this year to Tommy John surgery, obviously. It was one of those situations with Shelby Miller. And he actually got dropped in an NL-only league I'm in. And I picked him up just because I was like, hey, it's not official yet. Who knows? And usually when it's not official yet, we still know, right? And obviously that's what the guy who dropped him was thinking. But it's not official till it's official. And this is a good example of that, because the Diamondbacks are talking now like, yeah, we feel like we dodged a bullet. They're having Shelby Miller ramp up again in earnest, like he's about to come back and close for them. Look, it's possible. It's possible the other shoe drops and I guess he still ends up missing the season, but that's not what it's sounding like right now. It's sounding like Shelby Miller's going to take over closing for the Diamondbacks still.
Yeah. Chris's cat is either a really big fan of Shelby Miller or not a fan at all.
Like, the feeder's going to go off in 35 minutes. We all know that. We're all aware. Somehow the cat doesn't know and she wants to be let out. And it's like, no, because if I let her out, then the other cat is going to eat everything. And we can't have that because the other she's bigger. She's a big girl.
So maybe we just need to wrap the podcast up within 35 minutes.
I might just have to kick both cats out.
If anyone saw me making faces while watching on YouTube here, I did see an update here on Dave Roberts, and it does not sound very good. Apparently, Tanner Scott felt a sting in his forearm. He will get an MRI tomorrow, but is, quote, emotionally not well, according to Dave Roberts. So
that's all right. Yeah, that's not great.
Sound great for Tanner Scott. Let's get into waiver wire, this or that.
This
Let's make some decisions here. Drake Baldwin had himself a huge game, 3 for 5 with 2 doubles, 6 RBI, and last 20 games, he is hitting .297 with 4 homers, 18 RBI, and OPS over 900. He has started 5 straight. He's stealing some playing time away from Marcell Ozuna now. Both Baldwin and Sean Murphy are getting in the lineup quite regularly. And Carson Kelly is turning things back on, 3 for 4 with his 13th homer. Last 19 games for him, hitting .373, 4 homers, and OPS up near 1,100. So, in case you need more catchers, who would you rather have, Drake Baldwin or Carson Kelly?
I think definitely Baldwin. And you're not asking, but also Sean Murphy. I think this is... Again, we don't need more catchers. This is like the least... this year is like the worst time to have this happen, but it does seem like the Braves are going away from Ozuna and starting to 2 catchers, at least for as long as they deserve to both start. I think it could change, but you watch a Braves game, you see shots of Ozuna looking forlorn on the bench. Like I think he knows what's going on here in the last year of his deal, and so Baldwin and Murphy, even in 1 catcher leagues, they both look plenty viable going forward. And it's not that Kelly isn't viable. If you're asking me which is most likely to fall off of these 3 catchers, it would be Kelly by a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there have been the last 7 games for the Braves now. They have started both catchers in 5 of them. And it's not like they're both going to start 5 out of 7 games. If that trend continues, they're both probably going to start 6 out of 7 games. And one of them's going to get the day off when Ozuna's in. The other one will get the next time. And if you tell me both Baldwin and Sean Murphy are going to start 85% of the games the rest of the way, I think they're both top 12 catchers, even in this deeper catcher environment. That's how good I think both of them are. So it's not even a question, Drake Baldwin versus Carson Kelly. Carson Kelly's a fine hot hand play. I think he's just a hot hand play.
Are you guys taking both Braves catchers over Francisco Alvarez, who we just talked about?
Oh, yeah.
A couple minutes ago.
I think I'd probably take Kelly over Alvarez, even though I'd take Alvarez over Del Castillo. So what a fine web we weave.
So I think if you're asking me who I'd rather start right now, it's Kelly, because he's hot and has been hot multiple times this year. If you're asking me who I think is more likely to be fantasy relevant in September, it's Alvarez.
All right, next up, Giancarlo Stanton starting to lock in a little bit here. 1 for 4 with his 5th home run, and in July, hitting .318, 5 homers, 14 RBI, and 1117 OPS. Has started 8 of the past 11 games for the Yankees. I think the playing time will continue to tick up here for Stanton as well. 51% rostered. Scott, we were just talking about him. Marcell Ozuna. Would you drop Ozuna, util for util, to pick up Giancarlo Stanton?
I don't think this is a relevant question in many leagues, to be honest. Like, I think 12 teams or less, neither needs to be rostered at this point. I think 15 teams or more, both need to be rostered. I think Stanton is clearly more usable right now, but if either one, if you're asking me which has the best chance of reclaiming everyday at bats and turning into an impact, like a truly impactful bat down the stretch, I would still give that edge to Ozuna, even though it
maybe
doesn't look
not
great for him
on
right
the Braves
now.
though.
Maybe not, or maybe.
Yeah.
It just, if Murphy gets hurt again or falls into a slump, or Ozuna has a 2-homer game in one of his rare starts, I think things could change very quickly there. But right now Stanton's more usable. Yeah, like I said, I think if either's going to see something happen that turns him into a stud again, it's more likely Ozuna.
All right. Maybe it's the homer thing, but man, like when Stanton gets locked in, we saw it in the playoffs. I mean, the guy, he can catch fire. So kind of seems like maybe that's happening right now for him. Couple of prospects here. Any interest in stashing either of these two, or I guess which one would you rather stash? Matt Shaw showing some signs of life here, 2 for 4 with his 4th home run, Tiny sample, but last 4 games, he has 6 hits, 2 homers, and 1 steal. And Bryce Matthews, recently called up by the Astros, double dong here on Monday, his first 2 home runs of his career. Also had 5 RBI, has started 5 of 7 games since being called up. He has some power, lots of speed, lots of strikeouts. Who would you guys rather stash right now, just for upside, I guess, on the bench? Matt Shaw or Bryce Matthews?
I think I'd go with Matthews at this point. I think there's a pretty decent shot. Shaw's not a starter in 2 weeks. And now there's a pretty decent shot Bryce Matthews isn't a starter either. Yeah. But I'm not writing Matt Shaw off for his career, certainly. But I think we've seen enough, or rather, frankly, haven't seen enough from him to make the call that just he's over-rostered at 46%. I think he'll be a good player in the long run, but he has just shown no ability to drive the ball with any kind of force so far. So I'll go with the mystery box with Bryce Matthews, even though I do think Matt Shaw is the better prospect.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of feel like this is another question that's just not that relevant in any leagues, because the leagues that's most relevant are NL and AL only, and these guys are in opposite leagues. Yeah. So
15-team leagues.
Scott doesn't like my.
I don't want either of these guys in a 15-team league either, because I don't think either. I mean, look, yes, Bryce Matthews had a good day today, 2-homer game. He still has more strikeouts than hits since this was his second and third hit. I don't have any confidence that he's going to be useful for the Astros. I think Shaw has shown that he's really not useful, at least as a rookie, and maybe the Cubs get somebody to start over him before the deadline. But if I have either of these on my roster in a 15-team league, they're probably the first player that's being dropped when something more attractive appears.
Scott rejects your premise, Frank.
Yeah, I don't know that he's going to like any of these other questions either, but I'll ask anyway. Next up, Ramon Laureano continues to hit for the Orioles, 2 for 4 with his 12th home run. He has started 19 straight. He's 24% rostered. And Angel Martinez of the Guardians is having himself a nice July where he's hitting .297, 4 homers, 1 steal, 928 OPS, has started 15 straight. So deeper 5 outfielder league names here. But who would you guys rather have? Or Chris, maybe who would you rather have? Ramon Laureano or
I have an opinion. But you go to Chris first. That's fine.
It would be Laureano, I think. Playing time is less assured for him, but he's kind of enjoying a little bit of a resurgence the past year plus, I guess. He had really solid quality of contact metrics last season. His quality of contact metrics this season have been, frankly, a lot better than I realized. So, yeah, I
just look at the baseline stats for Ramirez. Yeah. He's 280 with an 854 OPS as somebody who's been playing every day for at least 2 months now, right?
Yeah, something like that,
yeah. Laureano, in 5 outfielder leagues, I think Laureano's more rosterable than Matt Shaw from the previous group. So, yeah, I think pretty clearly Laureano over Angel Martinez.
And 2 more deep league corner infielders here. Josh Bell got off to a terrible start. Well, he's picked it up. Last 42 games, he's hitting .297 with 6 home runs and an OPS near 850. He's hitting the ball pretty hard during that stretch. And Brady House, 3 for 4 with a double and his 3rd stolen base. Deep league corners here. Who would you guys rather have? Josh Bell or his teammate, Brady House?
I mean, this is the Josh Bell experience, right? He looks absolutely hopeless for a 2-month stretch, then looks really, really good for a month or 2, and I'm fine riding the hot hand. I think Brady House has done some interesting stuff. Like the contact skills have looked pretty good. He's putting the ball in play. His expected batting average is 300. That's kind of all he's doing, though. He's not really hitting for any power. 3 stolen bases, that's nice, especially I think he had 12 before being called up, so there is some base stealing ability, even if the speed itself is not impressive, but I'd rather have Josh Bell.
All right. And last name here, no this or that, just who the heck is this guy? John Rave. Apparently a 27-year-old outfielder for the Royals. There you go. I should have got some music in there. 2 for 4 with his 3rd home run. He also had a huge game on Friday where he hit 2 2 home runs with 4 RBI for John Rave. Who is this guy? Does he matter in like the deepest of leagues?
Sure, AL only. Fine.
Yeah.
Pick him up, Chris. AL labor. Pick him up.
He is currently on a roster. There are players rostered in AL only leagues that's not true of. So, sure. I can't say that I'm expecting much of anything from him beyond that, but it would be kind of funny if like the Royals have had all these relatively hyped outfield prospects flop in recent years. I'm including Caglione, at least for now. And then some guy named John Rave shows up out of nowhere and actually provides something. Because they have, I want to say I was reading a piece on Fangraphs that they've had like -4 wins above replacement from their corner outfield spots this season, which is just a bonkers number. So he's going to get the opportunity at least.
Mm-hmm. Just a name in the deepest of leagues. Let's see where it goes. But, for the past 4 games at least, John Rave is making some noise here with the Royals. Let's take our final break. When we return, do any of these waiver wire pitchers matter? We'll find out right after this. Welcome back in Fantasy Baseball today. Do any of these waiver wire pitchers matter here from Monday? Walker Buehler, strong start at the Phillies, 7 innings, 2 runs with 4 strikeouts there. Jack Leiter, quality start against the Athletics, 6 innings, 2 runs, 4 walks, also 7 strikeouts. And Michael McGreevy was recalled by the Cardinals, and he pitched very well in Coors Field, 7 innings, 2 runs, only 1 strikeout, had 0 walks in this one. Do any of those 3 names matter? McGreevy, Jack Leiter, and Walker Buehler.
I think the one who matters most is Jack Leiter because he's shown strikeout upside. But I don't know that we're to the point where we feel comfortable putting him in our lineups pretty much ever, even with good matchups. So, probably in most 12-team leagues, I would find players I'd rather roster than any of these 3. But I'm keeping the closest eye on Leiter. I don't see anything here in Walker Buehler's start. He changed the pitch selection quite a bit. Of course, he's like throwing 7-8 pitches now. So that's kind of true every start when you have that many pitches. But I don't see anything that suggests he's figured out how to succeed. And
I haven't seen anything from him this season.
And only 4 strikeouts in this start. And who was the third one? McGreevy. I don't think McGreevy's ever going to be a huge fantasy asset. I think because he has such good ground ball skills, which he hasn't actually shown in the majors this year, but throughout his minor league career and the little bit he pitched last year, he's like an extreme ground ball guy. I think he'll have his share of quality starts in the same way Andre Pallante has his share of quality starts, but Andre Pallante is also not that big of a deal in fantasy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right, well then let's move on to some other frustrating pitchers. We spoke about Shane Baz earlier today. Jack Flaherty, a rough start at the Pirates. Supposed to be a good matchup as well. 3 innings, 6 hits, 3 runs, 3 walks, 6 strikeouts, through just 62% of his pitches for strikes. It just kind of feels like it's not going to happen this year for Jack Flaherty. He's all the way up to a 4.77 ERA. And if you dig into the pitches, the specific pitches here, his curveball has been awesome. Mm-hmm. His fastball and slider have both regressed a ton from where they were last year. So maybe he could just kind of flip a switch and it can happen. But if he keeps pitching like this, I just don't really see it happening for Jack Flaherty.
Yeah, I've probably kept the faith more than any of us, but I think it's time to accept that he's just a guy this season. And I still think there's plenty of upside. It just, he hasn't shown enough of it at any point really that I'm not saying I'm dropping him, but
okay, that's what I was going to ask. Like what exactly does just a guy mean?
Not a guy that I'm locking in my lineup.
Okay.
Yeah, he kind of feels like a streamer for strikeouts at this point. Right?
Yeah, I think that's the best thing you can say. Yeah,
it's It's weird because if I told you Jack Flaherty prior to this start was a bad start against Pittsburgh, obviously only lasted 3 innings. But his previous starts all had 7 strikeouts or more, all had 3 earned runs or fewer. And then I gave you his overall numbers for those 4 starts. Mm-hmm. It would not seem to match up. That's just kind of like a start in his starts in isolation have looked, there've been a number of ones that, that's a pretty good start. Mm-hmm. But then what do they add up to? It's kind of a bad number. It's just weird how baseball stats work that way because, like the whole idea behind a quality start, 6 innings, 3 earned runs. People will say, oh, how's a 4.50 ERA a quality start? Well, because they're not all the quality starts aren't going to come right up to the very limit of a quality start. You're going to have some 1-run outings in there. But it just seems like Flaherty, not that he's technically getting quality starts because they're on the shorter side, but it's all those kinds of starts where it's like 3 runs in 5 2/3 innings. That doesn't seem like that bad of a start, but if they're all like that and then you have some really bad ones mixed in, it turns out to be a high ERA. All of which is to say, I see a lot of talent here still. Like I was looking, okay, is he throwing strikes less this year? Yes, but not a lot less. Is he missing bats less this year? Yes, but not a lot less.
It's mostly the slider.
The walks are up quite a bit from last year.
The walks are up quite a bit, but the overall strike percentage isn't. Or hasn't fallen as much as you'd think for as much as the walk rate has risen. So I guess maybe I'm holding out hope for Flaherty, but I don't consider him a must start. No.
Yeah. As someone who has him in a bunch of spots, it's been a very frustrating experience with Jack Flaherty this year. He's also allowing more fly balls, more hard contact, and as a result, more barrels than ever before. His barrel rate against ranks in the 10th percentile this season. So, I mean, that in conjunction with the walks being up, it's just, that's how you get a bad season here out of Jack Flaherty. Another weird start for Tanner Bybee, but he did battle through it, wound up with the win against the Orioles. 7 innings, 5 runs allowed, only 3 of those were earned. 4 strikeouts to 0 walks, had 15 whiffs on 86 pitches. Did some good things with the pitch mix here, faded the fastball a little bit, used his cutter more. It looked really good for him. He also allowed 10 hard hits. So it's like, there's some give and take. There's some good things here from Bybee. There's some bad things here. It's kind of been like his season as well. Where are we at? Or is it just more of the same Tanner Bybee?
I'm not sure what the point of Tanner Bybee is anymore. Like, we just haven't seen any kind of upside from him this season. There's been no strikeout upside at all. His best stretch was he had that 10 strikeout start against the A's back in June, but he also gave up 5 runs in 8 innings in that one. But he's just shown no upside, very little consistency. And it just, like, if he's a 21% strikeout rate guy now, what are we chasing exactly? Like at least the past couple of years, he'd been like 25, 26% strikeout rate guy. And so it's like, it comes with a mid-3s ERA, but hey, that's a good pitcher overall. Right now, it's like, even if he's been a little unlucky to have a 4.29 ERA or a 4.27 ERA for the season, if it's not even close to a strikeout per inning, that just sounds like a guy to me.
It's
way more than Jack Flaherty even.
I would guess I would say that Tanner Bybee, his first 2 years were good. His first 2 years, everybody was pretty much happy with him. And he was really hard to make sense of. And so, look, he was a huge prospect, great minor league track record, had a good first 2 years in the majors. That I think both of them got off to rough starts, but he really surged at the end in both instances. So I trust Tanner Bybee as a pitcher more than I trust myself as an analysis of a pitcher who's going poorly. Maybe is a good way of putting it. So, like, I can't make a strong intellectual case for believing in Tanner Bybee. I just believe in Tanner Bybee. I don't know if that makes sense.
I think it makes sense. It's just you haven't convinced me.
That's fine.
Yeah,
that's fine.
I mean, you weren't trying to. So
yeah.
No, I think he's weird. I think weird is the word for Tanner Bybee right now.
Well, I'm not sure weird is the word that I would use for Zach Gallen. I think I would just use bad because it was another bad one for Zach Gallen. 6 innings, 6 runs, 6 strikeouts here, 11 hard hits. The curveball was awesome in this one. Maybe he's just a one-pitch pitcher at this point because I don't know that he has much more to go, much more to go to outside of this curveball. And even when it's performing well, he has another rough outing. So I don't know. Maybe he's back to the graveyard, Zach Gallen.
I close my eyes only for a moment, and the moment's gone.
Scott, where did you have Zach Gallen in your 2-star pitcher rankings this week?
I think I had him in the second tier, advisable in most cases. I think both of the matchups were pretty good, as I recall. Second one is Texas, maybe? I'm not sure. But anyway, the most discouraging thing about this start for Gallen to me is that it seemed like when he would bounce back with a good start, it's because he threw a lot more strikes. And he threw a lot more strikes than this one, 69%. It was still awful. And that makes me wonder what it's going to take for him to get back to being reliable. And does he really have it in him? And I'm skeptical.
Might need a change of scenery. That's the biggest thing I can point to is just that I mentioned this last week, I think, but Lance Brzezowski brought up a point in one of his newsletters a couple weeks ago about the Diamondbacks just being relatively on the far end when it comes to pitch development and, getting the most out of their pitchers. And it just kind of feels like he's got to find a new home to unlock something. And maybe it won't happen, right? Maybe it's just he's got a mediocre fastball, he's got a great curveball, and he doesn't have anything else consistent enough. That might be the case, but it just I'd like to see him with a new set of eyes.
All right, let's get into some fun with arbitrary endpoints here and take a look at 4 hitters who have really picked things up. Salvador Perez continues his wake-up call, 2 for 5 with a double dong, 4 RBI. He has 4 homers in his past 3 games. And in July, he's hitting .367 with 8 home runs and a .1273 OPS. This is one of the examples of a player underperforming their expected stats all season, and now it's happening. Now things are coming to fruition for Salvador Perez. Taylor Ward, last 27 games for him, .295 batting average, 5 homers, 27 RBI, and OPS over .950 during that stretch. Willy Adames has really picked things up as well. Last 35 games for him, he's hitting .302 with 10 home runs and OPS near .950. 20% barrel rate over the last 35 games for Adames. That is an awesome number for him. And Nick Kurtz, we talk about a lot, but let's talk about him again. 2 for 3 with his 19th home run, and he has 14 homers since June 15th. That is second behind only Eugenio Suarez during that stretch. Suarez has 16 home runs. So Nick Kurtz, I don't know, maybe just one of the best power hitters in baseball.
I think he's a stud. I mean, the fact
Tristan
he's doing
Casas
this,
we were promised.
Yeah, he's doing this as a rookie and not even like a full season rookie. Gosh, his OPS is .975. Really, the full OPS .975. That's phenomenal. Nick Kurtz looking like a stud.
Yeah. Indeed. Salvador Perez, Taylor Ward. I don't think that there's much else on those guys.
Ward has been pretty productive all season long. It was just that the batting average was weirdly low for a long time, but he's been among the AL leaders in RBI for a while.
76 is a lot.
Yeah, he's got 23 homers and 76 RBI in July 22nd. He's going to have, probably for a different team, I would guess, within the next 9 days. Although with the Angels, you can never say for sure that they're going to trade the guys that they should, especially because they're only like 2 games below 500 or something. But Adames, I think, is the one to focus on just because it's another example of what I was talking about earlier with Royce Lewis, where as bad as those first 3 months were, we have a pretty long track record for Willy Adames not being as good as he was last season, but being a solidly above average starting caliber fantasy option. I never thought he just completely lost that ability, whether it was the pressure of a new contract or a new home. Like that stuff's hard, even if we can't quantify it. I'm not at all surprised that Willy Adames has gotten hot, and I think there's a decent chance that we're going to get to the end of this season and he's going to have like a 770 OPS overall and finish with 25-ish home runs, and it's just going to kind of look like a normal Willy Adames season, which probably doesn't make him a top 15 shortstop right now, but is still a viable fantasy option.
Oh, Chris, time to let the cats back in.
No, they're locked out. This is collective punishment.
All right. Fair enough. Hey, real quick, starting pitcher edition. Carlos Rodon, a rough outing here, struggled with his control. 5 walks to 4 strikeouts over 5 innings. He threw 62% of his pitches for strikes. He also had some bad defense behind him in this one. And last 8 starts now for Rodon. It's not atrocious, but I mean, this is a decent sample size of a 4.20 ERA, a 1.27 WHIP. Walks and hard contact have been a problem. So any concerns here with Carlos Rodon?
He hasn't looked right. I'm not saying he's hurt or anything. I think this is just probably the normal variance of the Carlos Rodon experience, where he just, I don't know, his mechanics get messed up, or he's not throwing strikes consistently enough. But when I've watched him over the past month, that's been the main thing, is he's bouncing a lot of pitches.
I think his previous start relieved a lot of my concerns, because that one was awesome. 8 shutout innings with 8 strikeouts against the Cubs, no less. This start for Carlos Rodon, if I could do the micro-analysis thing for him too, his slider's his best pitch. Like, it's clearly his best pitch. He didn't have it. He didn't have it in this one. He threw it only 17% of the time. That's about half as much as usual, and it got 0 whiffs. So you're not going to get a good Carlos Rodon start when he doesn't have that slider. And so, if that becomes a long-term trend, then it's obviously a big problem, but I doubt it will. I think he'll have the slider back next time, and he'll probably be must-start moving forward.
You know what it probably was?
What's that?
He threw 107 pitches. 6 of them were to lefties. So that probably explains most of the both lower slider usage, because he throws a slider a lot. Obviously a lot more often to lefties than righties. That could explain some of it, but yeah, he also just didn't seem to have the feel for it, like Scott said.
I'm pretty sure the Blue Jays do not strike out against. Yeah, they have the lowest strikeout rate against left-handed pitching this season as well. So they are a tough team for left-handed pitchers to face. And what's crazy, you would think 8 starts of a 127 whip, man, that whip must be getting up there. It is a 105 whip for Carlos Rodon this season. So might just also be some natural regression here for him. He was so good early on in the season there. Kodai Senga struggled against the Angels. 3 innings, 4 runs, 3 walks, 5 strikeouts. Threw just 53% of his pitches for strikes. Could be shaking off the rust. It's just his second start since returning off the IL for the Mets here. What are your guys' expectations for Kodai Senga rest of season?
350-ish ERA, a whip that probably doesn't help you very much.
A whip that actually hurts you.
Yeah.
Probably like a 120 to 125 whip, I would say, something like that.
Yeah.
I'd take the over on that.
And just decent strikeouts. So I've been viewing him as a sell high, obviously before the hamstring injury, especially. Might be a little harder after this one, but yeah, I think the worst part of Kodai Senga's season is to come.
All right. Hey, real quick, is it time to say goodbye to Jacob Lopez?
That's probably fine. I imagine, given how hard it is to find 10 hitters with even a smidgen of upside who are rostered in less than 80% of CBS Sports leagues every week, there will be future weeks where I recommend Lopez as a streamer. But I think for the most part, we've seen that the pixie dust is worn off and he's pretty ordinary.
All right. Snap judgment here. Who wins the NL Cy Young? Both had great starts again here. Zach Wheeler, Paul Skeens.
It's Wheeler.
Yeah, it's gonna be
It's not a contest for me as long as he stays healthy. Not a contest.
I think everything's going to look fairly.
I hope they don't look into ERA too much.
So everything's going to look pretty similar by the end of the season. Like maybe Skeens has a slightly lower ERA, but Wheeler's probably going to end up throwing 20 more innings.
20 more innings. He has a lot more strike. People are not noticing how underwhelming Paul Skeens' strikeout numbers have been this year. Like he has like 2K per 9 less than Wheeler per 9. Before you factor in the inning difference.
Yeah. Wheeler has double-digit strikeouts in 3 of his last 4 outings. Paul Skeens, by the way, picked up his first win since May 28th, and it was his first time going 6 innings since June 19th. There was a report recently that the Pirates could look to limit Paul Skeens more in the second half. They're limiting him for when he's on another team.
What is the point of the Pittsburgh Pirates existing if they're going to waste 2 seasons of Paul Skeens? You have literally Paul Skeens on a literal league minimum contract, and you're just not going to. I can't.
Yeah,
I cannot with that. Like that is just
really understand because I'm sure they don't have a lot of money to spend. I'm sure the GM doesn't have a lot of money to spend. He's not permitted to spend much money.
Mm-hmm.
But he's supposed to be a smart guy. They have a lot of low dollar assets. Like you could do what the Rays managed to do it. You've got to at least show some effort.
The Brewers are.
Do you guys know the last free agent that the Pirates signed to a multi-year contract? Ivan Nova in 2016. That is the last time the Pirates signed a free agent to a multi-year contract. I'm not even like Ben Cherington, whatever. I have no opinion on if he's good or not. I think it's clearly a mixed bag. But this is Bob Nutting. Like this is just like contract the Pirates. That is my take.
No, I'm saying I'm sure Bob Nutting's restrictions are restrictive, but you can make it work. You have to try. Like it's not even free agents necessarily. It's not like the Rays go out and sign a bunch of big name free agents. They sign sneaky free agents and they make really smart trades. And they develop when they have the assets to compete. They try to compete. You don't have to sign a big free agent to try to compete. There are other ways to do it. I'm just not seeing any effort on the Pirates' part.
On a team that was trying to win games, Bubba Chandler would have been called up in April. Like that,
Sure.
They're just not trying.
Sure.
I'm not even saying like they probably still wouldn't be a playoff team if Bubba Chandler got called up in April, but they're just not trying. Like they have had Paul Skeens, and they are just not trying to win games. That is like. Whatever, man. Like
you're not going to have them forever.
The Dodgers are bad for no, the Pirates are bad for baseball, man. Like what? Like Paul Skeens isn't going to pitch a game that matters until he gets traded to the Yankees. Like it's ridiculous.
Yeah. Let's do that. Let's make that happen.
It's so
they might as well. Like if they're not going to try
trade
to
him
win
now
while he's there, they might as well trade him while he has the most value. That's
while his arm is still intact.
Yeah. Right, because like, okay, our window isn't 2025. We're not ready yet. Well, okay, fine. Connor Griffin makes the majors next May. What if Paul Skeens blows out his elbow?
Yeah.
You wasted another year. Like this, when you are built around pitchers, your window is as long as their elbow is healthy. And that is it. You don't have 5 years in the future. You have right now, and the Pirates are wasting it.
I think this deadline is so massive for them, too. I mean, they are the clearest seller, right? I mean, look, there are a bunch of sellers, but they have so many pieces that they can sell right now. If they can kind of turn all these, pitchers that, they don't want to hold on for long term and their bullpen into hitters for next season.
Mitch Keller.
That is the main focus, right? If you could turn Mitch Keller into, young hitters that are under control that you could pair with a Paul Skeens or Bednar and Dennis Santana.
The thing is, but like they can't afford to trade them for prospects. They have to get major leaguers.
Yeah. I mean, I keep going back to the Yankees.
They would trade them for prospects.
Mitch Keller to the Yankees for like a package around Spencer Jones. Like,
sure,
that makes sense. Why not?
What was their biggest acquisition this offseason?
Andrew Heaney.
Spencer Horwitz?
Yeah, Spencer Horwitz, I guess. Yeah.
Tommy Pham.
Adam Frazier, I think, got $4.5 million.
Like, that's not.
Andrew McCutchen.
That's not going to get it done.
Not trying.
No.
It's just not trying.
Or trade Mitch Keller for like Owen Casey and something like that.
Yeah.
Bring in some young prospect hitters and let's see what these guys can do.
Ugh, disgusting.
Some leftovers here on the hitting side. Jose Ramirez, another home run here. A bunch of power and speed in July. He has 7 home runs and 8 steals so far in the month. Somehow just hitting 222. So kind of weird, but obviously power and speed is awesome. Kyle Stowers hit another one. And in July for him, he's up to 9 home runs and a 1324 OPS. Luis Robert, he is trying to get traded 2 for 4 with 2 RBI. He is also having a nice July so far, hitting at 364, 2 homers, 3 steals, 1023 OPS. Eugenio Suarez hit another one, his 36th home run. Byron Buxton, his 23rd. Shohei Ohtani, home run on the same day he was pitching, his 35th. And Will Smith, 2 more home runs for him, up to 14 home runs now on the season. Some pitching leftovers. Kevin Gausman, great start up against the Yankees. 7 innings, 1 run, 8 strikeouts for him. His whole season has just been so up and down. I mean, such is the life of a splitter pitcher, I guess, but it's just kind of have to expect this from Kevin Gausman.
This is what he is.
Yeah. It's, some really good starts, some really bad starts. And when you look up, it's a high 3s, low 4s.
4 ERA.
Yep, something like that. Yuri Perez, solid against the Padres. 5 innings, 2 runs, 5 strikeouts. Didn't have his best stuff here, but still, powered through for a solid start. Ohtani, solid against the Twins. 3 innings, 1 run, 3 strikeouts. Got the pitch mix up to 46. The pitch count, up to 46. So that was a season high. And Noah Cameron struggled with the long ball, but wound up with the win at the Cubs. 6 innings, 4 runs, 7 strikeouts to 0 walks. Anything to add on Cameron, Ohtani, the pitcher, Yuri Perez, and Kevin Gausman?
I think it's a testament to how talented Yuri Perez is that he clearly still doesn't know what the answer is as far as his secondary pitches are, and he's still pitching really well right now. Once he figures that out, whether it's that slider that looked really good in the previous start, whether it's the curveball that has flashed or the sweeper, he's going to be a monster.
All right, and then some bullpen updates here for the Pirates. David Bednar allowed a hit, but struck out 1 for his 14th save. For the Padres, Robert Suarez picked up his 29th save. That is now 6 scoreless appearances in a row for Suarez, who looks like he's turned things around. For the Blue Jays, Jeff Hoffman struck out the side for his 24th save. For the Mets, Edwin Diaz struck out the side for his 20th. And for the Astros, Josh Hader picked up his 26th save of the season. To stream or not to stream on Tuesday, we have Landon Roop at the Braves, Cam Schlittler at the Blue Jays, Frankie Montas gets the Angels.
I really don't like these options.
Yeah.
Erod against the Astros.
If Schlittler didn't have the bicep, it was a bicep tightness.
Yeah,
if he wasn't coming off that, I'd be interested, and I'm interested in him in long term if he's healthy. But if I don't have to start him, I'd prefer not to.
Yeah, Landon Roop at Atlanta is the only one that I could.
Yeah.
The only one I could really see having a quality start, and it's not like it's a sure thing.
Yeah.
And then on Wednesday, we have Soroka up against the Reds. Brandon Pfaadt against the Astros. Slade Ciccone against the Orioles. Taj Bradley against the White Sox.
Bradley against the White Sox seems fine. Ciccone against the Orioles seems pretty good.
I'm going to keep smashing my head against this Mike Soroka wall until I break through or have to go into the concussion protocol.
Oh my gosh. All right. All right. So yeah, Taj Bradley, I think Ciccone is fine. And yeah, Chris likes Soroka there as well. Team Day Tuesday, we'll save these for next week because we're already up against it here. But I promise we will get to some and continue to send in some team names. We'll read those on next week's podcast. We are going to wrap there. For Scott and Chris, I am Frank. Thanks as always for tuning in to Fantasy Baseball today. Please make sure to follow and leave a 5-star rating on Apple or Spotify. And we will be back again tomorrow. Bye-bye.